In a village beneath a towering mountain, there lived a potter named Ananda. Years ago, a terrible accident had taken his left leg, leaving him with only a wooden crutch. Despite his disability, Ananda lived a humble life, shaping clay into pots that were admired by all. But deep within, he nurtured a sacred dream to climb the great mountain and stand at its peak, gazing at the world from above. Each evening, after the day's work, Ananda would sit by his plane and stare at the mountain's summit. The villagers mocked him for his dream. They would say, "You can barely walk to the market, Ananda. Why waste your thoughts on an impossible climb? The mountain is not for you." Ananda's heart ached, but he couldn't let go of his dream. One evening, as he sat lost in thought, an old monk wandered into the village. The monk, noticing Ananda's gaze fixed on the mountain, approached him and asked, "What is it that holds your attention so deeply, Potter?" Ananda hesitated, but then spoke. "I dream of standing atop that mountain. But how can a man with one leg and no strength achieve such a thing? It is foolishness." The monk smiled gently and said, "It is not foolishness, Ananda, but you are climbing the wrong mountain." Ananda looked at him puzzled. "What do you mean?" The monk explained, "The true climb begins in your mind. Your imagination is the first step. But like shaping clay, it requires practice. Come to me each evening and I'll show you." Every evening after his work, Ananda visited the monk. The monk would guide him into quiet meditation. At first, Ananda struggled. His mind would wander and doubts would creep in. Frustrated by his struggles, he told the monk one evening, "This is pointless. I can't even imagine it properly. The mountain feels too large, the path too unclear." The monk nodded knowingly. He said, "Ananda, the mind, like the body, must be trained. Just as a pot begins as formless clay, your vision must be shaped with patience. Trust the process, and the mountain in your mind will come into focus." Night after night, Ananda practiced. Over time, his mental vision grew vivid. He could see the rocks and trees, feel the wind, and even hear the birds. Most importantly, he began to feel a quiet confidence taking root within him. Meanwhile, the villagers continued to scoff. They said, "Ananda has gone mad. He wastes his evenings on dreams when he should accept his lot in life." They pitied him, shaking their heads as they passed by his home, whispering among themselves. But as the days turned into weeks, some began to notice a change in Ananda. He moved with a new confidence, his crutch steady and his posture strong. Though They still doubted his dream, their ridicule softened, replaced by quiet curiosity. Weeks turned into months, and Ananda noticed a change. His body began responding to the mental rehearsal. Tasks that had once seemed difficult, as walking to the market, balancing on uneven ground, started feeling easier. His arms grew stronger from using the crutch, and his balance improved. The monk explained, "Your imagination is reshaping your reality, Ananda. The brain does not distinguish between imagined practice and physical effort. With each mental climb, your body prepares itself for the real journey." One evening, the monk lit a small lamp and handed it to Ananda. He said, "This flame is your dream. At first, it flickers and struggles, but with steady care, it will burn bright enough to light your way. Each time you visualize, you add oil to this flame. Tend it daily, and it will never go out." Ananda continued his practice, daily tending the flame of his imagination with faith and feeling. Finally, one evening, the monk said, "You are ready, Ananda. The path in your mind is now a part of you. Trust it and begin your climb." The next morning, Ananda set out with his crutch and a small sachet of food. At first, the climb was grueling. His arms ached and his leg throbbed with pain. The mountain's terrain was steep and unforgiving. But whenever doubt arose, Ananda paused, closed his eyes, and recalled his practice. He envisioned himself moving steadily, his crutch finding secure spots, his body adapting to the challenges. With each step, the path felt less like an obstacle and more like a familiar friend. His mental rehearsals had prepared him for the unexpected. Rocks became stepping stones, narrow ledges became bridges, and steep inclines became opportunities to rest and gather strength. After many weeks, Ananda reached the summit. As he stood at the peak, the vast world below unfolded like an endless tapestry. Closing his eyes, he shouted, "The mountain was never my enemy. It was my teacher, revealing the strength I already carried within." When Ananda returned to the village, the monk greeted him with a smile. The monk said, "So, what have you learned from your climb, Ananda?" Ananda bowed deeply. He said, "Master, I learned that the mind is the true master of the body. Through repetition and imagination, I rewired my doubts into belief and shaped my weakness into strength. The mountain didn't change, but I did." The monk nodded. "You see, Ananda, imagination is like a potter's wheel. It shapes the raw clay of your mind into something extraordinary. But shaping takes time, patience, and daily effort. You climbed the mountain long before you took the first step. And from that day forward, Ananda's story inspired countless others. He taught them the practice of imagination, showing how daily mental discipline could overcome even the greatest of obstacles. The potter with one leg became a living symbol of the truth that the summit of any mountain, whether in the world or within the mind, can be reached with persistent belief and vision. You see, imagination is a powerful tool shaping our reality, whether we realize it or not. Often, we unknowingly use it to our disadvantage by replaying fears, insecurities, and worst-case scenarios in our minds. When we dwell on past hurts or imagine failure, we reinforce those mental grooves, wiring our brains to recreate negativity in our lives. However, this same power can be redirected to our benefit. By imagining only what we want, success, love, health, or happiness, we can rewire our brains to manifest positive outcomes. Each time we think feelingly about our desires and visualize them vividly, we deepen the mental grooves that guide our actions and influence our reality. The key is daily practice. Focus your imagination on the life you want, and over time, your mind will translate those visions into reality. So, always think the best of the best about yourself. Imagine only what you want to happen in your life and see how your mind translates your imagination into reality. Thank you so much for joining Buddha Sunshine and stay